So I was just working on some dovetails, and it occurred to me, I wonder if anybody's ever doing plywood dovetails. Just for fun, I thought I would try it out. This is what I found, that you can definitely make dovetails out of plywood, but the difference is that it's a lot weaker than hardwood. Hardwood, you would probably put like 3 dovetails in this size board. But here you could only really fit 2. Because when I tried 3, it broke apart way too easily. So the dovetails need to be a lot larger because it's so weak. Another thing is that I found that you have to use more shallow dovetails. When you do hardwood dovetails, you might do like a 6-to-1 angle, whereas I found like a 2.5 or a 3-to-1 angle worked much better with the plywood. And I mean, this is just kind of fun, seeing if it even be worth it to do dovetails in plywood. And yeah, I think you know, if you want to practice too, it's really pretty good because it's really soft. So the other thing I was wondering is, how strong is this really? I thought it'd be interesting just to run some different tests and see how they all performed. So this is a butt joint that is nailed and glued. Got a 5-pound weight. And that's 10 pounds. Okay. So this is ring shank nails, no glue. It's a little shorter as well. Slowly. Slowly. Okay. This board was 12 3/4 inches, so a little shorter, which will affect the calculation here. But it's interesting how the split happened here, because here the ring shank nail just slowly bent. No real crash breaking point. And the plywood really wasn't affected, it was just the metal here that bent. 4 Bradnails No Glue. Again, a shorter board. I think this is gonna bend as well, considering the ring shank bent. I think the nails are just gonna bend as well, and I doubt this is very strong. Oh, yeah, this is the weakest one by far. And they just completely bent. The least amount of weight. So this is pocket screws, no glue. Okay. Okay, that split the plywood much more. Huh. This is pocket screws with glue. Now, the pocket screws without glue did pretty well, so I bet this is gonna do quite well as well. For this one, let's start out with 10 pounds. The plywood is cracking inside here. Not the glue point, the plywood. So yeah, this did not do as well as I thought it would. Interesting breaking point. It broke really close here, broke one of the layers of the plywood. Well, the pocket screws themselves are very strong, but they eat into whatever they go into, and the plywood is very weak. So as a result, you don't have a strong joint. In fact, it's as strong with glue as without glue with the pocket screws, because it doesn't affect the holding power in the situation, because the screws just eat up the wood here. So this is basically dovetails without any glue, and it's a little loose, so it's a little wiggly already. I expect this one to break really easily. Feels like it's just gonna break as soon as I put any power on there at all. Okay, it's almost like it's holding it like that. Broke the layers apart completely. Okay, so this is dovetailed with glue. I expect this to be pretty strong. So this is a 10-pounder. Okay, let's put on another 5. Wow, okay. It's like a little bit cracking here. This broke on here, not within the dovetail joint. Huh, that broke like right off. It's like the joint themselves weren't affected here. So this was by far the strongest. So for the finale, how strong would 2 dovetailed glued joints be made out of plywood? I'm gonna stand on it, kind of like it's a bookcase. I'm not gonna give away how much I weigh, but you guys can get an idea of how strong it is. This is screwed into my bench and a table. So let's see. Okay, I'm gonna step on it. Nothing, that feels very stable. So how many books do you need to have to equal a person here? Quite a few, I would say. I'm gonna jump. Now this is amazingly strong. This is junky plywood with Dovetails and glue. This could hold like a ton of weight. I almost feel like the table is gonna flip over before this breaks. I think we're gonna have to do another test, since this obviously didn't break. So let's see how strong this is. Can I break it like this? Yeah. Oh. Okay, there we go. So, downwards, very, very strong. That is not as strong this way. Guess if you're looking for a strong joint, you should do glued dovetails, even with plywood. So one thing to keep in mind here is that the longer this board is, the less force you need to break this connection at the joint. Like if you put the weight right here, you will need a lot more force. Whereas if this is a long board, you won't need as much force if it's all the way over there. This is a simple mechanical advantage with the lever concept. So when we add a certain amount of weight here, it's really a measure of how much force it's needing to break this connection here. So it's going to vary a little bit depending on how long the board is and where the load was placed on it.
And now for the results. Take these numbers with a grain of salt, but it's basically correct. How many pounds of force were required to break each joint? For 4 1¼ inch Bradnails, 20 pounds. For Dovetails No Glue, 140 pounds. For 3 6-penny ring shank nails, no glue, 160 pounds. For pocket screws without glue, 240 pounds. For pocket screws with glue, 240 pounds. For 3 4-penny finish nails with glue, 240 pounds. And finally, Dovetails with glue, 480 pounds.
Bottom line here, glue is very important for strength. Without the glue, it doesn't really matter what you use. The Bradnails and the ring shank nails, both bended really. I noticed another thing with the ring shank nails, that they didn't pull out, so they worked correctly. The metal just bent. But if you don't use glue, you better use something like Dovetails, because that's really much stronger. But glue and Dovetail is really an unbeatable combination. But overall, most of these combinations, if you have glue with it, it's gonna be strong no matter what you do. So glue has a great holding power if you don't disturb the wood itself, like with pocket screws that are big and beefy and just kind of eat into the wood. So what to use for a shelf? Well, anything and glue. And maybe be wary of the pocket screws if you're using plywood.
You can follow me on Twitter @Darbin Orvar. I try to put up videos each week, so please subscribe. And if you haven't heard, I started a new channel about movies, so I'll leave a link below for that. Thanks for watching.